Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As for the question, are Shia Muslims or not? I just want to make some very small comments in this regard. I think that inshallah will help all of us. Number one, as a whole, the Sunni scholars of Islam, or the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'at scholars of Islam, as a whole, have not declared Shias as Kafir. For example, the way Muslims have clearly declared in every way that the Qadianis are not Muslims, or people that agree with Nation of Islam are not Muslims, or the Baha'i faith people are not Muslims. It's very, very clear that they are not Muslims. But because throughout the course of from the beginning till now, as a whole, the Sunni scholars have never declared the Shia as disbelievers. So it's very hard to get a ijma on this issue. And there's many reasons for that. Yes, there are some scholars like Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Shawliullah Muhaddis Delvi, and others, some of the great scholars who have basically come as close as one could to saying and declaring that they are not Muslims. But as a whole, in terms of history, that has not been done. And there may be several reasons for that are very important to know. Number one, the Shia are not one monolithic group. They are comprised of many different groups. And within this, they have this upper and lower, you can say, wave, right? When they are closer to the Sunnis, their rhetoric and their statements change. And when they are farther away from the Sunnis, because of historical events, political events, when the Shia as a whole, right? For example, Iran wasn't Shia at one time. And so then it became Shia. And at that time, it was very different from the way it is now and the way it is going now. So, for example, there have been Shias for a long time that were declaiming that the Quran was distorted. And now, in the last decade or so, the Qom University, which is the main university of the Shia scholars, has declared no, the Quran is not distorted. So my point is that the Shia as a whole have not even had one, you can say, frame of belief system that has been constant. For example, in the Sunni world, for the most part, the Sunni belief system has been basically pretty much the same, right? And even in there's difference of opinions. I'm not referring to that, but I'm talking about as a whole, like changing with time. So even though their faith does tend to change with time, and because of political situations and because they're the minority, they get affected by the Sunnis either positively or negatively, either working with or working against. But over here, I want to mention that I think the Shia brothers also should be aware of this, that there are, you can say, two types of Shia in general. And I'm taking this idea from Ali Shariati, who was himself a Shia brother. And that is that there are the mourning Shias, or the black Shias, versus the red Shias, right? So the mourning Shias are always mourning. They have the rituals, they have the myth, and it's all about how Hussein and Ali and the family of the Prophet was victimized. And then they have all the rituals around this. And this is the black Shia. And then you have the red Shia. Red Shia are those people that take that legacy of Hussein radiallahu anh, and take the legacy of Ali radiallahu anh, and want to continue that legacy. They want to bring about justice. They want to establish the justice. They want to show the justice. They want to stand up for the truth. So obviously, between the two, because when you're doing mourning, then you're blaming, and when you're blaming, you're cursing. So, these things are interconnected. But when you are the red Shia, as Ali Shariati said, this will bring the Shia closer to us. Now, as far as are Shia Muslim, yes, Shia are Muslim. But I was saying that not all Shia are the same, and they haven't been the same as a group even, for the most part. There have been, differences amongst them. And even in their imamat, who will be their imam, there's been differences. So they've changed a lot and morphed a lot over time. And, I remember being in a conference in which we had asked a Shia imam, I won't mention him, I believe he's in Philadelphia, but we asked a Shia imam brother that why don't we we'll agree upon the early imams and their statements. And he said basically no to that. And I'm not saying that in a negative way or necessarily in a positive way, but I'm only saying that if you take the statements of Ali and some of the Imams and you look at what the Shia are writing today, it's very different. And what they're the direction, there are some very positive directions within the Shia community that has been going recently, especially in regards to the issue of distortion of Quran. The Qom University has officially declared the Quran has never been distorted. So all of those riwayat that they have, all of those statements that they have, and there are hundreds of them, I believe, that talk about the distortion of Quran in one way or the other. Like, for example, why is Ali radiallahu anhu not clearly mentioned in Quran? And so the answer to that is, if one answer that the Shia brothers give is, if Ali was mentioned, then, the Prophet was afraid, and then they wouldn't have preserved Quran. So to preserve Quran, so even though that obviously isn't logical, because, the Quran isn't afraid of the disbelievers, and is clearly, saying what it wants. Inna Allah la yastahi. Allah is not shy to say what he needs to say. And the Quran says some very harsh things when it needed to be said. Anyway, this is not the point. The point is the Shia are Muslims. Now, having said that, there are, you can say, 4 levels of unity with humanity, right? No matter who you are. So the most basic is we are the children of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Right? And so the second is that whatever your deen says, even to the point where Quran will say, if you're even Ahlul Kitab, right? Ya Ahlul Kitab, lastum ala shay'in hatta tuqimu at-Tawrata wal Injil. O people of the book, you have no claim until you establish what's in your own books. So at one level, Quran is saying, look, we are a brother in humanity at the very basic level. Number 2, if whatever you believe in, are you even going according to that? When the Prophet would be with the Jewish community and there would be some issue, he'd say, okay, what does your book say about this? And the Prophet would give the judgment on the Jewish people from their books. So this is the second. Then the third is ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa'a baynana wa baynakum. Let's come to a common term. Okay. So one is, if you're saying you're Shia, then okay, let's go back to your books, your original books. And number 2, what is common between us? And then number 4, that, okay, if we are truth seekers, then truth is truth, in that there is no my grandfathers and my forefathers, and that doesn't matter. It just matters what the evidence is. Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin, if you're a truth seeker. And then in that, these labels, Sunni, Shia, they don't matter. Then it's just a matter of what knowledge, wherever knowledge leads us, that's where we'll go. Now, the reason I mention this is that, is it allowed for a Sunni brother to be friends with a Shia? Yes. But my recommendation is that you help and you have the intention of doing da'wah to the Shia brother. And how to do da'wah to the Shia brother? The easiest way is that, where you don't have to agree upon everything. You don't have to convert him to Sunnism. But the easiest way is to ask the brother, or to encourage the brother, let's read Quran together. Quran stands on its own. Quran doesn't need narrations from this person or that person to explain itself. Quran speaks for itself. And if you believe that Quran is the kalam of Allah and speaking to all mankind, and it is timeless, then it is not limited. There's no ta'wilul, you don't need ta'wilul khas. Ta'wilul am is enough. What Quran is saying in its wordings is enough for all times to come. And then bring the Shia brother closer to Quran. Because the closer anyone is to Quran, he'll get guidance. The main theme of Quran is huda, guidance. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. So that's one thing. Second thing is that besides him being Muslim, have the intention, okay, let's have some dialogue. Yes, we are from the children of Adam. Yes, if you are a Shia, then be true to the Shia, and then ask the Shia brothers to study the Zaydi Shias. The Zaydi Shias are closest to the Sunni Shias. And then you can see the arguments between the Zaydi and Ithna Ashari Shias and how they are. That's a longer issue. Then as far as, can a Shia brother lead the prayers? As long as anyone says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, then you can pray behind them. وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Bow down with those who bow down. Unless he is, if he's doing, something very wrong, let's say he is, what about if he's cursing the Sahaba, for example? Of course, to the Sunni Muslim, first of all, no one should curse anyone, because just that's not the best of characters. And the early Imams didn't do that. They negated that. They stopped that. And so anyway, But can you pray behind a Shia Imam? For the most part, is if if they believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah and you pray behind them, and they haven't done any clear kufr in front of you, so then you can pray behind them. But if they've done clear kufr, like they've said Quran is distorted, well, this is definitely a problem. So as by and large, they are Muslims, and because the Shia are in minority, when Muslims pray, it should be the Sunnis that lead the prayers, and then the Shias pray behind them. But if a Shia leads, then that's okay too. But it's better if you can at least get an acknowledgement of, and you don't have to say, hey, you're going to lead prayers. They're going to say, La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah to me. You don't have to do that, but you have to be somewhat confident that you're bowing down with someone who does believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the minimum requirement, you can say, even though he may be doing something wrong. For example, somebody can be drinking alcohol when, at night, but now he's leading prayers. If he leads prayers, and as long as even though he's doing misdeeds and it's not the best situation that he leads the prayers, and it's not in the sunnah that he would lead the prayers, but if he's alcoholic and he drinks and does other bad deeds, and he leads prayers and you're praying behind him, your prayer would be valid. So this is what I have to say about this subject, to keep it very, very simple. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, don't forget to subscribe or like, leave any comments. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.